There are three topics examined in this video: equality and diversity, prevent and safeguarding, and keeping the children safe. This training is necessary and valuable to individuals working with children and young people in the education sector, including those working with vulnerable adults. Moreover, it is crucial also for immigrant communities new to the UK, the Republic of Ireland, Europe, Canada, the USA and Australia, especially the sponsored visa workers with children of school-going ages, to have knowledge and information regarding equality and diversity, prevent, safeguarding and keeping the children safe. This information will protect you and avert the risk of becoming reliant on social services or facing the potential loss of your children to the government, as ignorance is not a valid justification, and child safety is paramount in industrialised and developed nations such as Ireland and the United Kingdom. This course is developed from the UK Government Ofsted training framework on the subjects for individuals in the education sector. However, the training content is the same for individuals working in the health and social care sector. Equality and diversity. What is equality and diversity? Equality and diversity are complementary ideals that encourage inclusivity, respect and understanding. Equality implies ensuring everyone is treated equally and has access to the same opportunities regardless of their origin, qualities or beliefs. Diversity is about recognizing, valuing and celebrating the differences among people, including their backgrounds, expertise, abilities and experiences. Together, they contribute to establishing workplaces where everyone feels appreciated, respected, and empowered to achieve their maximum potential. The fundamental principles of equality and diversity: fair treatment, ensuring that everyone is treated with fairness, dignity, and respect, regardless of their differences. Equal opportunities, providing equal access to opportunities, resources and services for all individuals, regardless of their background or traits. Inclusion, establishing environments where all individuals feel accepted, esteemed and empowered to share their distinct viewpoints and abilities. Respect for differences, recognizing and appreciating the diversity of persons and honoring their unique identities, experiences and contributions. Zero tolerance for discrimination, adopting a resolute position against discrimination, harassment and victimization based on any protected trait. The Equality Act 2010 aims to establish a legal framework that safeguards individuals against discrimination and fosters equality across multiple domains, including employment, education, housing, and the provision of goods and services. The Act superseded prior anti-discrimination law in the UK, enhancing and consolidating legal protections against discrimination based on several protected characteristics. The safeguarded qualities include age, disability, gender reassignment, marriage and civil partnership, pregnancy and maternity, race, religion or belief, sex and sexual orientation. The Equality Act of 2010, the protected characteristics as delineated by the Act. Age. The Act safeguards individuals of all ages. Nonetheless, there are instances where age-based differential treatment may be legally permissible. A company may necessitate that an employee meet a specific age requirement if the government enforces an age restriction, such as a minimum driving age. The Act characterizes disability as a physical or mental impairment that significantly and persistently hampers an individual's capacity to perform routine daily tasks. An individual shall not be subjected to discrimination based on their gender, whether male or female. Gender reassignment. The Act safeguards individuals undergoing or who have undergone gender reassignment from discrimination, harassment and victimization related to their gender identity. An individual need not be under medical supervision to receive protection. Thus, individuals transitioning without medical interventions are included. The Act safeguards employees who are married or in a civil partnership against discrimination based on their marital status or partnership. Individuals are safeguarded against discrimination based on pregnancy and maternity throughout their pregnancy and any statutory maternity leave to which they are entitled. Race, discrimination based on race is prohibited by law. For the Act, race encompasses colour, nationality, and ethnic or national origins. Individuals are safeguarded against discrimination, harassment, and victimization on the grounds of their religion or belief. For the Act, this encompasses any religion, religious belief, or analogous philosophical belief system. The term also includes the lack of religion, such as atheism. For protection, the belief must be genuine and deserving of respect within a democratic society. This implies that it must not violate human dignity or infringe upon the fundamental rights of others. Sex. The Act prohibits discrimination against individuals based on their sex. Sexual orientation. As defined under the Act, it refers to an individual's sexual attraction towards A, individuals of the same sex, B, individuals of the opposite sex, or C, individuals of either sex. Equality and diversity are essential ideals that foster a more just, inclusive and thriving society, beyond mere legal obligations. By advocating for equality and diversity, we can establish conditions that enable all individuals to flourish and realize their full potential. All individuals ought to promote transparent communication and discourse to cultivate a culture of respect, empathy, and comprehension. Prevent. Overview of prevent duty. What is prevent and what are its legal obligations? Comprehending the fundamental principles of extremism, radicalization, and terrorism is crucial for the efficient execution of prevent strategies. Extremism, radical beliefs that substantially diverge from conventional norms, frequently promoting considerable social, political, or religious transformation. It is important to recognize that not all extremist organizations engage in terrorist or violent activities. Radicalization. The process through which individuals progressively adopt extreme or radical beliefs, typically influenced by exposure to radicalizing factors. Radicalizers seek to provoke individuals to endorse terrorism or engage in terrorist activities. Terrorism, the employment of violence, intimidation, or coercion for political, ideological, or religious objectives intended to induce fear, inflict injury, or exert influence. Terrorism encompasses more than just assaults. Concealed beneath the surface is a buildup of activity that culminates in violence. What factors contribute to individuals' susceptibility to radicalization? Radicalization is fueled by emotions. Emotions such as anger, frustration, and uncertainty, which can render individuals vulnerable to radicalization, are universally experienced. Yet it is crucial to comprehend the reasons behind extreme actions taken in defense of significant persons or causes. Radicalization transpires when an individual feels inclined to perpetrate violence in support of a group, ideology, or cause. Students may engage in online discussions, join groups, or participate in actions that could result in illegal activity. Susceptible persons may be exploited by radicalizers who provide emotional support and companionship. Ideology functions as the unifying force that consolidates radicalized individuals, influencing their perceptions of society and community. Ideologies can provide a sense of belonging, significance, and purpose, enhancing individuals' perception of their life's importance. Terrorist ideology dehumanizes persons and legitimizes criminal conduct. Some may possess legitimate complaints or observe injustices, regarding radical groups or causes as a method of expression or resolution. Identifying the indicators of radicalization. Indicators of radicalization may differ according to individual events and contexts. Nonetheless, several prevalent signs may include abrupt behavioral shift. Sudden alterations in behavior like increased withdrawal, secrecy, or hostility may signify possible radicalization. Embracing extreme ideologies. Demonstrating endorsement of extremist beliefs or exhibiting a growing fascination in radical literature, websites, or propaganda materials. Alienation from prior social networks. Severing ties with friends, family, or community people who do not espouse analogous extremist ideologies or convictions. Abrupt religious or political zeal. Exhibiting an intense enthusiasm for religious or political ideologies while growing progressively intolerant of other perspectives. Social media engagement. Participating in online actions that include disseminating extremist material, engaging with identified extremists, or endorsing acts of violence. Alterations in appearance or attire. Embracing clothing or insignia linked to extreme organizations or ideologies, potentially indicating a profound dedication to radical convictions. Absence of critical thinking. Exhibiting a deficiency in critical thinking or autonomous judgment, uncritically embracing radical narratives, disillusionment with society, articulating sentiments of disenchantment or disillusionment towards mainstream society, governmental institutions, or societal conventions. Abrupt lifestyle modifications. Implementing sudden alterations to one's lifestyle, such as discontinuing education, resigning from employment, or severing connections with non-radical acquaintances and relatives. Obsession with violence, idealizing violence, showing reverence for terrorist actions, or articulating intentions to partake in violent endeavors. Various factors may contribute to these behavioral changes, not only radicalization. It is essential to comprehend the reasons behind these changes before drawing any judgments. What is your function inside PREVENT? The principal objective of PREVENT is to dissuade individuals from engaging in terrorism or endorsing terrorist activities. It is essential to acknowledge that radicalization can commence at an early age, frequently without persons being aware of it. Research indicates that early intervention, upon the emergence of vulnerabilities, is crucial for preventing the entrenchment of radicalization. As educators, we are obligated to protect our children. Your position in the education industry affords you a distinctive perspective. Your everyday interactions with young individuals enable you to discern behaviors that may warrant concern. You frequently observe any changes in behavior first. Regardless of whether you are a primary school educator examining children's artwork or narratives, or you engage with adolescents and young adults in secondary education or further education, your position is crucial in preventing potential radicalization. To perform this function effectively, it is imperative to possess confidence in your capacity to identify the indicators of an individual being radicalized towards terrorism, communicate issues responsibly, adhering to established protocols. Through vigilance and proactivity, educators are crucial in fostering secure settings for their students and averting radicalization. If you have a concern, when there is apprehension that an individual may be at danger of engaging in terrorism, the Notice, Check, Share protocol is initiated. It is essential to uniformly and equitably use the same criterion for PREVENT activities across all extremist ideologies and radicalization issues. If you see a behavioral change that raises concerns regarding possible involvement in terrorism, consult with the designated safeguarding lead or an equivalent authority or the PREVENT lead at your placement. These personnel are designated to assume primary responsibility for safeguarding. If you possess a concern, what actions should you take? Upon the emergence of concerns over an individual's potential involvement in terrorism, the Notice, Check and Share protocol is initiated. It is essential to uniformly and equitably implement the same criterion for PREVENT activities across all extremist ideologies and radicalization issues. If you see a behavioral change that raises concerns regarding potential involvement in terrorism, consult with the designated safeguarding lead or a similar authority, or the prevent lead in your placement setting. These personnel are designated to assume primary responsibility for safeguarding. Approach them discreetly and inquire whether they concur that the behavior is a matter of worry, if they believe additional information is necessary, if there are any supplementary actions you ought to undertake. Expressing your concerns constitutes the concluding phase of the notice, check, share protocol and is a crucial aspect of the frontline practitioner's responsibilities when engaging with individuals susceptible to radicalization. The designated safeguarding lead or prevent lead will exercise their professional judgment to ascertain the subsequent course of action and the appropriateness of a referral. Depending on the situation, you may need to communicate your concerns to the police, or they may address this on your behalf. In the event that an individual presents an imminent threat of harm to oneself or others, promptly dial 999. Safeguarding and keeping the children safe, protection training. In this presentation, the term children refers to anyone under the age of 18. The forthcoming information offers a comprehensive examination of several protection concerns. The text provides extensive examples but does not provide a complete enumeration of all possible forms of abuse or signs. Kindly note that this lecture will address subjects related to child abuse and child safety, which may be challenging to contemplate. If you require a respite at any time, please do so. This talk will elucidate the essential principles of protection. In the educational setting within the UK, safeguarding pertains to the protocols and strategies implemented to guarantee the safety and welfare of children, adolescents, and vulnerable adults. It entails recognizing and mitigating issues with their welfare, encompassing safeguarding against abuse, neglect, and damage. Education professionals must recognize several critical domains to successfully protect individuals under their supervision. The government defines safeguarding and promoting the well-being of children as safeguarding children from abuse, safeguarding the emotional and physical health and development of children, and guaranteeing that children are raised with secure and efficient care. Implementing measures to ensure optimal outcomes for all children. Safeguarding requirements in the further education and training sector relate to individuals aged 0 to 18, vulnerable adults. All personnel directly interacting with children must review Part 1 of Keeping Children Safe in Education, the mandatory guidance for educational institutions and training providers. A condensed version of Part 1 may be appropriate for anyone not directly engaged with children, as determined by their organization or governing authority. Upon concluding this program, you will be required to affirm that you have read and comprehended Keeping Children Safe in Education 2023 Part 1. Kindly verify that you have completed this criterion if you have not done so already. Principal categories of injury. When discussing the abuse of children or vulnerable adults, we typically classify harm into 4 primary categories. They are as follows: neglect, emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. Additional forms of harm that children and vulnerable adults may experience will be elaborated upon in subsequent videos. Additional examples will be elaborated upon in Part 1 of the Keeping Children Safe in Education statutory guidance, which you are mandated to review. All forms of abuse may exhibit visible indications of injury. Nevertheless, there are instances where one may possess an intuitive sense that something is amiss. A remark, a distressed youngster or vulnerable adult, a modification in conduct. Although not all alterations signify abuse, The most prudent counsel is to discuss any concerns with the safeguarding person in your establishment if something feels amiss. Reporting safeguarding issues, regardless of their magnitude, is essential to have a comprehensive understanding and implement suitable measures. Neglect is defined by the government as the continual failure to satisfy the fundamental physical and/or psychological needs of a child or at-risk adult, which is likely to cause significant harm to their health or development. The Office for National Statistics indicates that neglect was the predominant category of abuse for child protection plans in England, affecting 25,330 children as of 31 March 2019. And ranked as the second most prevalent category for the Child Protection Register in Wales, impacting 1,005 children. Neglect can inflict significant short and long-term harm on the at-risk child or adult, including detrimental effects on brain development, and typically consists of several events occurring over time. Indicators of neglect include malnutrition, dehydration, weight loss, poor personal hygiene, disheveled look, frequent school absences. It is important to note that neglect is not just associated with financial conditions. Affluent parents or caretakers can also neglect their children. Emotional abuse. What constitutes emotional abuse? Emotional abuse includes non-physical actions intended to manipulate, isolate, or instill fear in an individual. Ongoing emotional abuse can hinder the emotional growth or self-esteem of a kid or vulnerable adult. An at-risk kid or adult may experience emotional abuse from a parent or carer, siblings, peer, or older child occurring in both physical and online environments. Indicators of emotional abuse include deficiency in confidence and self-esteem, challenges in emotional regulation, extreme behaviors such as excessive demands, aggression, emotional outbursts, or passivity. Difficulties in forming and sustaining relationships, inappropriately childish or adult-like behavior, frequent absences from home or school, symptoms of anxiety, unhappiness or social withdrawal, limited or non-existent friendships, insufficient social skills, engagement in self-harm or suicidal ideation. Physical abuse. Definition of physical abuse. Bodily abuse may encompass actions such as beating, shaking, tossing, poisoning, burning, scorching, drowning, smothering, or otherwise inflicting bodily injury on a child or vulnerable adult. It may occur perpetrated by an adult or among youngsters, peer-on-peer abuse. Individuals can sustain injuries while engaging in sports, experiencing falls, or enduring everyday bumps and bruises. Nonetheless, one should evaluate whether these injuries are congruent with the individual's typical lifestyle. Like psychological and emotional abuse, those subjected to physical abuse frequently suffer fear, rage, confusion, shame, and humiliation. Some may deny the abuse or seek to obscure it. Indicators of physical abuse include inadequate explanations for injuries or inconsistencies between the account given and the injuries observed, presence of bruises, cuts, welts, burns, or distinctive marks on the body, or significant hair loss, recurrent injuries, unexplained falls, altered or subdued behavior in the presence of a particular individual, hesitance to pursue medical attention. However, the mere existence of bruises, marks, or injuries does not definitively establish the occurrence of physical abuse. Sexual abuse is described as the coercion or seduction of a child or vulnerable adult to engage in sexual behaviors regardless of their awareness of the situation. Sexual abuse includes actions, including physical contact, ranging from touching and kissing to severe sexual assaults. It may also encompass non-contact actions such as internet harassment, grooming, or exposing a kid or vulnerable adult to inappropriate sexual content. Essential information to note: sexual abuse may be committed by individuals of any gender. Children are capable of sexually abusing other children, irrespective of age. This is referred to as peer-to-peer abuse. A greater incidence of child sexual abuse is perpetrated by someone known to the victim, such as family members, family friends, or neighbors, than by strangers. The legal age of sexual consent in the UK is 16 years, yet those over this age may still be subject to exploitation. Indicators of sexual abuse may encompass exhibiting knowledge or experience, whether verbal, artistic or textual, that exceeds their age or comprehension, indicating discomfort or pain while ambulating or seated, especially in the abdomen region, reports of discomfort, hemorrhage, pruritus or pain in the vaginal or anal areas, unaccounted bruises or injuries to hidden bodily regions, and unanticipated pregnancy, particularly when unable to consent to sexual activities. Child sexual exploitation occurs when an individual or organization, such as a criminal gang, exploits a power or authority imbalance to manipulate or deceive a person under 18 into sexual activities. This frequently occurs in return for something the victim needs or wants, providing financial or social advantages to the abuser. They may be unaware that this constitutes exploitation. It is essential to recognize that consent may not genuinely reflect the absence of exploitation, as victims may nevertheless experience sexual exploitation. Child sexual exploitation extends beyond physical contact. Technology, including the internet and mobile devices, can also enable it. Child criminal exploitation involves the coercion or manipulation of children to carry narcotics or money via county lines, labor in cannabis cultivation facilities, theft or pickpocketing. They may also be coerced or tricked into perpetrating vehicular offences or engaging in significant violence against others. Adults at risk may also be subjected to various forms of exploitation. Domestic abuse. According to the Office for National Statistics, 17.1% of all offences recorded by the police in the year ending March 2022 were related to domestic abuse, a figure comparable to 18.3% in the year ending March 2021 and 15.1% in the year ending March 2020. Women's Aid, an organisation assisting survivors of domestic violence, indicates that children may suffer both immediate and enduring adverse impacts on their well-being due to domestic abuse in the household. The effects of this may differ markedly among children. They may exhibit infantile behaviour, experience anger, anxiety, fear, withdrawal, or diminished self-esteem. It is crucial to stay vigilant regarding any alterations in a child's behaviour and to assess whether recent changes in the family's circumstances have occurred. Indicators of domestic abuse include physical injuries, attire or substantial cosmetics utilised to conceal injuries, such as long sleeves or a scarf in warm conditions or sunglasses indoors or during overcast weather. An individual who is reclusive and reluctant to participate in amicable discourse, as someone submissive, apprehensive, or excessively contrite. The government white paper on online harms, released in February 2020, states that illegal and inappropriate content is prevalent online, and online platforms can facilitate abuse and bullying. This may manifest as abusive, harassing and hate-filled comments, the non-consensual dissemination of obscene photos, particularly inside chat groups, and the distribution of offensive photographs and pornography to unwilling recipients. Children and vulnerable adults may encounter abuse and violence both online and in physical environments. This can be especially detrimental to the mental health and wellness of youngsters. A multitude of at-risk children and adults utilize the internet for social, recreational and educational purposes, and we do not wish to dissuade this behavior. Nonetheless, it is essential to acknowledge that kids and their carers may not consistently identify the risks associated with online use. Numerous government-endorsed websites exist to assist you with online safety. We urge you to explore these. Think Who Know, an initiative by the National Crime Agency, the Child Exploitation and Online Protection Command, or NCACEOP, provides resources for parents, carers and children of all ages to enhance online safety. Parent Info, a partnership between Parent Zone and NCA CEOP, offers support and guidance for parents and carers concerning the digital landscape from esteemed experts and organisations. National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children, or NSPCC, provides directives for parents and guardians to ensure children's online safety. UK Safer Internet Centre offers guidance for parents and guardians to ensure children's online safety. Also, hazardous content can be reported through the UK Safer Internet Centre. The Inclusive Digital Safety Hub and Online Safety Hub, established by South West Grid for learning in collaboration with Internet Matters, provide help and customised guidance for young individuals with additional learning needs and their parents or guardians. The Children's Commissioner has released guidance for parents on discussing online sexual harassment with their children, informed by children's perspectives, and outlining steps to take if a child or at-risk adult confides in you. A child or adult at risk may disclose abuse through various means, including verbal communication, written expression, artistic representation, or reenactment of the abuse. If a child or vulnerable adult confides in you, listen without judgment and promptly report the matter to the authorised safeguarding lead at the educational institution or training provider. Although it may be challenging to hear their accounts of the abuse they have endured, it is essential for you to listen attentively. Affirm that they have made the correct decision in confiding in you and assure them of your support. Document a precise, written account of what the child or adult at risk has communicated to you. Elevate the concern at the earliest opportunity. You may request clarification from the child, but limit your inquiries to open-ended questions. For instance, can you describe what occurred? If the disclosure is made through written communication, drawings, or reenactments of abuse, promptly consult the designated safeguarding lead at the educational institution or training provider, supplying them with comprehensive information. If the kid or adult at risk faces imminent danger, immediate action is imperative. Immediately contact your local authority's children's social care services, or for adults at risk, reach out to your local authority's social work department, or contact the police in case of an emergency. What action should be taken if you have concerns regarding a child or an adult at risk? Not all at-risk children and adults will disclose instances of abuse or neglect. However, if you harbour suspicions or feel uneasy, communicate your concerns to the designated safeguarding lead at the educational institution or training provider. If you believe that the kid or adult at risk is in immediate danger, you must act without hesitation. Immediately reach out to your local authority's children's social care services, or for adults at risk. Contact your local authority's social work department, or call the police in case of an emergency. Crucial actions to avoid: refrain from assuring confidentiality regarding a disclosure. It will be necessary to inform someone to obtain assistance for the youngster or adult at risk. Avoid posing leading questions, for instance. Did your mother strike you? Refrain from discussing issues or incidents with other staff members. Refrain from conducting an investigation. The designated safeguarding lead is responsible for this task. Thank you.